The USS Sterett, an Arleigh Burke class guided missile destroyer and one of the most heavily armed warships in the United States Navy. Destroyers are the backbone of the Navy fleet, the tip of the spear, and are often referred to as the Swiss Army knives, designed to perform multi-mission air, missile, and submarine defense, as well as land and sea-based attack. To put it simply, the mission of the destroyer is to destroy. But behind the scenes, both above and below deck, are the nearly 300 sailors who live and work within the confines of this 500-foot-long vessel, many times for months on end. Today, we've been given the incredibly rare opportunity to climb aboard and join the crew out at sea to learn more about this fascinating ship and experience a day in the life of a Navy sailor. But our journey actually begins pierside, here in Southern California at Naval Base San Diego, where the USS Sterett is beginning one of its most critical phases, getting underway in a process known as sea and anchor.
Everyone on board has a specific role to play. In the end, what we talk about here on Sterett is that everyone's a warrior. So it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're a culinary specialist, a yeoman doing admin type things, or if you're an FCA, fire control Aegis technician. Everyone here has a specific role to play because we can't operate the ship without every sailor that we have on board.
Stand by your line!
Sea and anchor is the process of getting the ship out to sea. The sea part of the sea and anchor detail is ensuring that we have line handlers on station ready to take in all lines and to be prepared to bring the tugs alongside. The anchor detail, those are the detail that are ready to let go the anchor in case of an emergency.
It requires a little more watchstanders up here in the bridge, but it also requires the whole ship to be involved to ensure that we can safely get the ship off the pier and transit through wherever it is that we need to.
So right now you see these security boats right here. They're making preparations right now to actually open up the security barrier. They're gonna bring in the tugboats. The tugboats are gonna come alongside. They're gonna make themselves up right here and one back aft. And then all line handlers are gonna take in their lines. The tugboats are gonna pull us away from the pier, out of the security barrier and underneath the Coronado Bridge. So that's the process of sea and anchor right now.
It's something you don't think about, right? Like you just don't hop in the ship and go. Like you might take your own boat, right? It's a big deal. There's a lot going on, and just seeing the entire crew, everyone's like on alert to get this process underway.
Nothing like just jumping in your car and going on the road. It's a huge evolution. It takes about a week's worth of coordination to get the ship out to sea.
So a week just to leave?
For routine underway, absolutely. We are prepared to get the ship underway within 24 hours if necessary, though. So after the security barriers open and we actually push off the pier and get out to sea, we have our gunners, mates, and weapons department manning our 50 caliber guns right here. So they're in charge of our anti-terrorism force protection.
We put the bullets into the side here, got them in, and then we just rack them. Then we'll be good to go.
So what are you looking out for?
Any boats or like jet skis and stuff that are getting too close. Like you said, any low slow flyers like drones and stuff like that. And it's not so much that we have to like shoot at them, it's just call them out over the radio to a guy on the bridge. So we let him see, he's got better eyes up there so he can tell us what to do.
And the security boats, are you like in comms with them down there too?
Nah, but they're in comms with the bridge.
Okay.
So and they talk to each other.
And you're manning this not at sea, but just in and out of port, is that the times?
Yeah, pulling into high traffic areas.
While we do have rifles and sometimes our sailors are armed, the majority of the time we're not. And really our weapon is our $3 billion warship. That cannot be operated without every single rate that we have on board. Knowing that I'm in charge of 300 plus sailors, it's an unbelievable responsibility, but it's a privilege and an honor. I get to come to work every day and sail with the very best our nation has to offer, and I truly believe that.
Flight quarter, main flight quarter station, quarter up top side, weather next, after,
So there you have it. We are officially underway on the USS Sterett, my first time ever navigating out to sea on a Navy ship. I'm excited.
Now that the ship is officially underway, the crew has spread out to resume their normal duties, and that can be just about anything. From manning the combat systems to monitoring communications, there's electricians, technicians, medical specialists, chefs, and so much more. There really is a position for everyone, and every sailor is important. However, one of the most vital roles starts at the top, and I mean at the very top. Through the doors overlooking the bow of the ship sits the pilot house, or the bridge, where a team of sailors are tasked with steering, operating, and navigating the 500-foot-long destroyer.
Welcome to the pilot house. As you can see, we have our full bridge watch team up here right now. We get to drive the ship. We get to learn how to operate the ship and navigate the ship safely at sea. And once we meet that qualification, then we transition into the next aspect, which is warfighting and tactics, where we learn how to operate and use our combat and weapon systems to defend ourselves. I'm going to touch on some critical watch standards that we have. The first is the conning officer. So his primary responsibility is driving the ship. So he's going to be the forwardmost lookout and essentially the best lookout that we have on board. He's going to be looking out at the horizon, calling out all contacts, and communicating with the officer of the deck, so that way then she can make an informed decision to keep the ship safe. But what's key here is the communication between the conning officer and the helmsman. So this is our steering control unit here that both controls our rudders and our engines as well, so our propulsion through the water. We do have a pretty advanced system that does have the feature for automation, but we don't typically use that on board. And we kind of stick with the tried and true tradition of the conning officer communicating straight to the helmsman to be able to change orders or change speeds.
So that's really interesting. So you mentioned the conning officer is driving the ship, but really he's just communicating to the helmsman who's physically making the input controls to turn the ship. That's really cool.
Yeah. So it's a pretty unique dynamic between these two. And so as stated for the sea and anchor evolution, we'll typically have our master helm up on the bridge, and they are essentially most experienced best driver. So that way we have the best person driving the ship for those evolutions. Being able to drive the ship is pretty awesome and special. I mean, we get to drive a billion-dollar warship. It's not that often that, you know, you get to do that. But also we are full control of the ship. So primary focus is always safety. But again, when required to be able to maneuver, our ship is pretty special and pretty sensitive to maneuver. So we can do some pretty dynamic and some pretty cool stuff on board the ship to get us to what we need to do.
As the Navy's most heavily armed warship, the Arleigh Burke class destroyer comes equipped with a lot of armament. On the forward launch deck, you'll find the massive Mark 45 62 caliber gun that can fire 20 rounds per minute at a range of up to 13 nautical miles. To give you a reference on the sheer size of this thing, here's me standing next to it. Located on the missile deck is the 25mm Sea Whiz autocannon, which can fire a staggering 4,500 rounds per minute to defend against incoming threats. Now, rounding out the gun side of the house is the 25mm Mark 38 chain gun that defends against high-speed maneuvering surface targets. But we're really just getting started. The USS Sterett also comes equipped with surface vessel torpedo tubes for anti-submarine warfare, and where the real firepower begins is here at the missile deck, with the 64-cell Mark 41 vertical launching system, with 34 additional cells on the front of the ship, which can be configured with all different types of missiles for both land and sea-based attack and defense. This missile system works hand in hand with the Aegis combat system, which uses computers and radars to track and guide weapons to destroy enemy targets. There's definitely a lot going on, which made me ask the question, with all of this firepower, where, or better yet, who, is controlling it? Well, the answer lies down below, in a secret and heavily secured area of the ship known as the Combat Information Center, an area I didn't think I would be able to see. But luckily, we were given permission to take our cameras inside and bring you along with us.
We're just a ship. This makes us a warship. So this is the Combat Information Center. And what you're doing here is this is where the weapons employment would come from, the fire breaks, as well as collecting all the information, whether that's satellite communication, line of sight communication, or other sensors that are all feeding into our overall command and control. The reason this space is so vital is that if we ever are in a situation where we have to employ our weapons on board, not only is that target recognized down here, but that weapon that's picked is recognized down here, and the final fire break and the key is held here. Without the watchlanders down here, that weapon will not leave the ship. The spy radar, in my strong opinion, is our most capable radar system. That is the most capable piece of the Aegis weapon system. It's a 3D phased array radar, primarily for air defense. It is what separates the United States Navy from all the other countries. Our ability to see out to the distance it allows gives us the most situational awareness and beyond an ample amount of time to make decisions. It is by far the most advanced equipment we have.
Now, producing these videos takes a lot of time, equipment, and resources, and because my goal is always to bring you the most interesting and exciting content out there, I want to thank our sponsor, Raytheon, an RTX business, for helping make this video possible. Not only does Raytheon manufacture a lot of the systems you've seen on this ship today, but they're also the proud supplier of many advanced sensors and weapon systems across the Navy fleet, helping protect naval ships and sailors around the world. With products like SM-6, the only weapon to provide anti-air warfare, anti-surface warfare, and ballistic missile defense all in one, Raytheon's products have led to an unmatched layered defense for US Navy ships and foreign allies. Now, the world's best weapons also need the world's best radar, and Raytheon has been producing the Navy's newest and most cutting-edge sensor, the SPY-6 family of radars. I actually had the chance to visit Raytheon's SPY-6 facility myself, and it was very impressive. SPY-6 can defend against ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, hostile aircraft, and surface ships simultaneously, providing significantly greater detection range while also reducing costs due to its modular and scalable design. The SPY-6 radars are currently being integrated into the newest ships in the US Navy surface fleet and will be installed on destroyers, amphibious transports, and aircraft carriers over the next decade to continue protecting naval ships and sailors for years to come. Once again, a huge thanks to Raytheon and RTX Business for helping make this video possible.
Our sensors are the best in the world, United States Navy, but our sailors are even better. So without the sailors taking that information provided from those sensors, those satellites, those radios, we would be obsolete. Every single person has to push that information up to, if you look behind me, the central node standing there, who that person will then take all of those inputs to make their best recommendation to push to the captain. If you look ahead, these are LSD 1 and 2. These are all different types of contacts. You'll see the symbology showing that it's an air contact, surface contact. You won't see a subsurface contact here, but you can get the information from sonar that push up. We take this and you can see here, like we are listening to everything, whether it's communications inside the ship or off the ship. With that information, we can take that, push that up to the captain so he can make his best recommendations and what he wants to move forward with.
So how much does this change from what we're looking at now versus if you're deployed downrange in an area where, like, it's no kidding real?
It actually is going to look the same. There's going to be more and more hostile symbology tracks, possibly, or suspect tracks, not hostile but suspect. But overall, you would walk in and still see these two screens up.
Okay.
What the screens are telling you, though, would be much different.
And all the weapons right on this ship, I mean, they're controlled from here, right?
So in here is how we are able to manage those leaving, like those exiting the ship. Not only that, without the right sensors up to support those weapons, also controlled in here, those weapons were obsolete without that supporting systems.
So how would that look if you're given the command to engage a target? Where's that come from, and how does this room here work together to effectively launch that?
So in order for that process to work, on that screen or these screens, you would see something that was a unique identifier to what was a threat coming in. Maybe it's faster, maybe it's lower, maybe it's showing the altitude. You pull the other watchstanders on what their capabilities on their console are to give you that amplifying information to tell you, hey, that signature is different than just a regular flying air contact. Yeah. So not only do you have to make that visual inquiry, but then you have to go beyond just the aesthetics of what that looks like and get that supporting cast information flow up.
So the lighting here, I mean, it's like straight out of what you think it would look like in a destroyer. Right. Is there a reason for it, or?
Yeah, because it's you have to be so visually keen in the ability to recognize your screens, right? So the lighting is to help gear your eyes to see what is pronounced on your displays.
One of the things I've always found fascinating about Navy ships is that their crew has to be trained to fix anything that has the potential to be broken. When you're hundreds of miles out at sea for sometimes months on end, you need to be prepared for everything that could go wrong. It goes back to what we've hit on several times now. Everyone has a specific job, and everyone's job is vital.
we make the ship go and we keep the ship in the fight because we're in charge of the generators, propulsion. So if the ship can't maneuver, if we can't generate the electricity to power the a lot of the equipment, all of the equipment on board the ship, we can't stay in the fight. So as engineers, we all come together to make sure that the ship stays in the fight. Electricity, we say, is like magic. So it can sometimes be very frustrating, especially when you go through certain troubleshooting techniques and like it still doesn't work, and like you're on a deadline, like we have to, you know, the ship has to get on the way, or like we're going through an inspection and like this has to be fixed. It can be very frustrating, but it's also very rewarding when you're able to complete this task and fix something and restore a piece of equipment. That is also very rewarding as well. We use what's called reverse osmosis. So we take the seawater, pass it through a bunch of filters a few times, and it squeezes all that salt out, like in layman terms, and they add some chemicals to it, and we create potable water for drinking and for showers and for safe consumption from the ship.
So when you have over 300 people living on a ship, you also have to have different amenities to accommodate everyone. Something you don't always think about, right? Where are sailors eating, sleeping, going to the gym? Well, it's all down here, and that is what we are about to get a tour of.
We provide material control or material support to the entire ship.
We have over 300 personnel on board and only a medical team of 3.
Generally, there are 2 gyms. Now, it's not a lot for 300 people, but it's enough to get the job done.
Anything from paper, pens, pencils, to hazardous material, anything that you can think.
For a lot of these sailors, it's their first time getting underway, and unfortunately, a lot of them don't realize that they get seasick. So we are the ones who take care of them.
What's it like lifting a weight as you're hitting kind of a wave? And
so there's definitely been injuries, but you kind of have to use what we call operational risk management in the Navy. You have to decide, is your workout worth the injury, which generally it shouldn't be or isn't worth it. So one of the most coveted spots on the ship is the ship store. This is where you can get your little home away from home when you're overseas and you want some Sour Patch Kids or some Jolly Rancher gummies, and you can't get them when you're out in town and when you pull into port. So this is a crew berthing where the crew sleeps at night. This is where they keep all their personal gear. This one that we're in right now is a 21-man berthing. On board, they go as many as 99-man berthings down to about 7-man.
This is the main galley on USS Sterett, where all culinary specialists and food service attendants work. This is where we put out the majority of the meals.
so on the menu today, we got chicken tendies, one of my all-time favorites. Potato wedges, spinach, and a little veggie blend. Should be good. Let's do it. They're generous with their servings here. That's what I like to see.
Now, even though this is a destroyer and not an aircraft carrier, that doesn't mean there aren't flight operations going on. The USS Sterett is equipped with a flight deck and a hangar on the stern of the ship that can accommodate 2 MH-60 helicopters. Similar to traditional carrier operations, manning the flight deck takes a dedicated crew who ensures everything is operating smoothly when an aircraft arrives.
Flight deck's actually one of the really small things that we do on board. It's actually a group of a lot of different jobs. This is kind of just a collateral job for us where we all have to come together. And you'll see the landing signalman enlisted actually guiding in the helicopter with hand signals, telling them which direction they need to move, up, down, left, right, and when they're okay to land. The stakes are definitely higher with how small our flight deck is. It's probably one of the smallest flight decks we have in the Navy. So we definitely have to keep our heads on a swivel and make sure that we're following all of our safety procedures, looking out for each other, making sure no one gets hurt.
Right now, the crew is preparing for green deck operations, which is where the flight crew gets ready to accommodate an incoming aircraft. Now, as much as I've enjoyed my time out here, we're about to have an MH-60 Sierra come and land to pick us up to be our ride out. It's gonna be an awesome view from the air of the ship here out in the sea. This is gonna be sweet.
There's nothing quite like the aerial view of a Navy ship out at sea. And while my day here aboard the USS Sterett is done, for the rest of the crew, their job continues. And they're the ones working around the clock to patrol our oceans and ensure our safety. I want to give a huge shout out to the US Navy for giving us the opportunity to tell this story. And if you're interested in learning more about the Navy and possibly having the chance to tour a Navy ship for yourself, you can visit the link I've left down in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.